Web3.tv.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Kostas Chalkias, the Web3 expert, white hat hacker, and blockchain engineer. You are the chief cryptographer and co-founder of Mysten Labs, whose mission is to simplify blockchain, enhance security with AI, and expand real-world Web3 applications beyond finance. Mysten Labs is the team behind Sui, the world's fastest blockchain, designed to deliver the benefits of Web3 with the ease of Web2 to be more accessible, secure, and user-friendly for everyone. Before Mysten, you led cryptographic initiatives at Facebook, now Meta, and R3, shaping the security foundations of many of the most influential blockchain projects today. You believe Web3 shifts the power from platforms to people by eliminating untrustworthy intermediaries and safeguarding privacy. You have said that direct digital ownership gives everyone greater control, unlocking the internet's true value. Your vision is to empower individuals and creators to own their data and content by building a decentralized web stack that unlocks the full potential of Web3. Kostas, welcome to London Real in Dubai.
Thank you, and I'm very happy that eventually I meet you in person and we're staying in the same room together. I see you around in Dubai. I moved very recently in Dubai, and now I have friends here, and I'm doing my passion innovation on the blockchain, and happy to discuss about a few things here.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really want to jump in. So I'm going to start with a quote from you, where you said, quote, "Honestly, I won't be surprised at all if Mysten Labs and anything that it touches surpasses the levels of what Apple is today. It's a very rare combination, even for Silicon Valley standards. RE, accumulated brain knowledge in one organization," unquote. So tell us, what is Mysten Labs? What is Sui? And how are you guys different from all the other layer ones out there?
Amazing. By the way, imagine me as an expat living from the UK, originally in Greece, then France, then the UK. Eventually ended up into working for Mark Zuckerberg. For an expert in Silicon Valley, you can realize you're having to do with super brilliant people coming from Harvard, Stanford, Berkeley, all of the big universities in the world. And I noticed the difference by the time I arrived in the US, that the team that we've built for Libra, maybe because Mark was generous enough to hire some of the biggest brains in the world, was so strong. And I was like an auditor for Ethereum for so many years, and I managed to crack smart contracts. I managed to find some billion-dollar attacks. The concentration of brain at Facebook at that time was definitely the biggest in the world. Do you know what happened afterwards and why Sui and Mysten Labs is now this center? All of the team left after the Libra collapse.
Yeah.
And we got some of the people that were promoted so frequent, in a so frequent fashion at Facebook, that I didn't even believe that these people will leave Facebook to go to a startup. And imagine the concentration of brain power now. It's not only Facebook. There were people coming from Google, Netflix, Microsoft. We have about 60, 70 folks with PhDs in the company. Imagine a set of 200 people working for Mysten at the moment. And pretty much half of them are coming from either PhDs or big universities, or they're very successful in their life. So the concentration as a startup, I haven't seen it in Silicon Valley. I have many friends working for multi-billion-dollar companies. I worked at Facebook. I'm interacting with Google. I had a project with AI vulnerabilities on the blockchain using Gemini. I know how our team is superior. So the potential and the probability, if you ask, where would you bet your money now from all of the unicorns that you see around that will make it to be a funk, like a Mank, as it's called now, right? All of the 5 big companies in the world. Mysten is probably, even if I try to be unbiased, has the best potential to make it. So that's why I believe that the rate of innovation is so high that I cannot see, if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot or the market collapses, why we cannot make it and be like the decentralized, the brand.
So many founders talk about the tech, and obviously we're going to talk about tech.
Of course.
But I've also heard some very high-level founders say it's not the tech, it's the team. And sometimes people forget, or they can't see the team beyond the blockchain. But you're telling me that's a crucial factor and one of the big reasons that you've had success.
The most important one. Sometimes even when you're hiring or when you're acquiring a company, like a smaller one, you need to check the people's profile and the people's passion for something. Smart people, imagine when we were taking interviews at Facebook, We didn't even ask the developer to write in the language that he will use while he's like joining us. Write at any language you want. I know if you are smart and you are like a person who is inspiring and can do like pivots very quickly, you will thrive. So this is how we're following this like property in our organization. And we just hired like super smart people to work on the most difficult problems in the world. And then eventually, even if you don't like something, because not every bet is working, right? It's very simple for them to pivot to something else, which is again, even better than the previous one. So having such a team to be able to think in this cycle of crypto that everything is changing. It was the NFT, then it was the DeFi, it was the meme season. Tomorrow it might be the AI season, it might be IoT season, RWAs. We have the team that is very quickly going into its direction, and we have a new innovation. Literally every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, if you ask me, there is a new white paper coming from Mysten Labs.
Wow.
I mean, this is not compared to Facebook and Google. I was there, I know.
Okay.
This is huge.
Special.
Yeah, it's special. It is special.
So the first time I heard about Sui was when I met Sheikh Mualla of GAF Labs and GAF Capital, and that was in 23. And I actually was here, I think for Token or some other event, and I met him, and it was at some party they had, and he came up, and I think he knew who I was, and then he said, "Would you like to meet CZ?" And that's a question you always say yes to. And so
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I introduced me to CZ. I met him. We talked about the UFC and how many push-ups he could do. He was the coolest guy. And I had a meeting with the Sheikh that next week, and he started mentioning Sui. And they were the team that was really mentioning you a lot. And I think they'd started talking to you. And I kept hearing them talk more about Sui. And then I came back last year and went to one of your Sui Connect events with GAF, and I met you and Christian. And talked to you, and I could see you guys were special.
Oh, we're very passionate.
Very passionate.
You know my background. I named my son Kryptos. So, what can you do better to actually devote your life for this? I literally do it.
His name is Kryptos.
His name is Kryptos.
And then I went back home to London in October, and a couple months later, Sui just lit up, and now you're probably the 12th largest blockchain protocol by market cap. And now all of a sudden, everyone knows Sui. But that literally all happened from a price standpoint in the last 3 or 4 months. And I know that gets you a lot of attention. So, and that's always good, right?
It's good. And Sui, the definition of Sui in Chinese and Japanese, do you know what it means?
No, I don't.
Water. And that's why you can see the drip as the logo of Sui.
Okay.
And
Bruce Lee, flow like water.
Yeah. And all of the innovation is flowing. So technically, the name was good, it inspired us. And that's the reason that Sui can innovate on all of the, across every industry you can imagine that is attached to Web3 at the moment.
I jumped into this market in 21, and I started going through all the layer one heads from, Emin at AVAX, and I talked to Mance at Hedera, and I talked to Justin's son at Tron, and I was just trying to get the lay of the land. And we all believed that a few years from then, there would be fewer L1s. And then we saw kind of the opposite happen. And now maybe we're consolidating again. And so I guess I'll go back to my original question. When people come to you and say, why is Sui so special? Why do we need another layer one? How do you explain that to someone who's not maybe deep inside the details of blockchain?
It's very simple. So if you see now the current landscape of all of the L1s, I will talk only about L1s for the time being. There is Solidity. There is Ethereum, who had the new language, scripting language to write smart contracts, all of this stuff. The only other language that managed to be better and safer than Solidity is Move. And we created Move, starting from Facebook. Imagine my CTO, he is the creator of the Move language, the first one who put the first line of code in Move. I created all of the cryptographic stack of Move. And then all of these people coming from Facebook, obviously they knew how to handle billions of people, right? We need this. You cannot go and have a Web3 that is only DeFi and you only have the DGens. You need also the gamers, you need also the RWAs, you need people who know how to have a social network, because eventually even all of this will come into the blockchain.
Right.
You need it. So we have the background that if you see the potential, obviously, we have this checkmark, right? There is no way. These people know how to run big infrastructures. Web3 originally started as just transfer of money from Satoshi, but again, it evolved into a smart contract, fully programmable like space. And now we have the opportunity to be the creators of this infrastructure. So Sui managed, and Mysten Labs managed to hire some of the best talents to work on every aspect of the stack. And it's not only Sui. I'm the chief cryptographer of Mysten Labs, but Sui is imagined as the CPU of the blockchain, very quickly having transactions. We managed to have almost 300,000 transactions, probably the first blockchain that managed to have this on a testnet phase. And we're having all of the peaks that we managed to surpass Solana and all of the rest on daily active users, transactions per second, latency, half a second latency. Who could imagine it? Imagine Bitcoin is 10 minutes at the moment. Half a second latency, now you can even do AAA games on the blockchain. You can do arbitrage on chain. You can do stuff that it wasn't possible with the previous stack. Right? Even Ethereum has a 14, 15 second finality. Now, so Sui is creating a new landscape where pretty much whatever you had on Web2, it's possible now on Web3. Even the transaction rate, every blockchain company is chasing Visa. Visa has 20,000 transactions per second. Under the peaks, New Year's Eve, it goes to 100K and all of this stuff. We managed to do it in a decentralized way. So these things were impossible before. What do you need for this, right? You need a team that is super innovative on consensus algorithm, because consensus is defining the TPS and the latency. Some other L1s probably have some people who are very good at consensus. But this is like one founder, and he doesn't know about all of the rest, because crypto is not only technology. And then you need the cryptographer. The cryptographer will create new systems. And myself coming from Facebook, I realized, for everybody to onboard into a new system, you need to do it in 1-2 seconds maximum. How can you do this now with mnemonics? That people have to write their passwords and then get a copy, and they don't have in their brain, there is no forgot password in the blockchain, because 99% of the population is attached to social networks.
Right.
They don't know it. People are losing their money.
The 12-word keep phrase is terrible.
The 12-word mnemonic.
It never scales.
Exactly. And we invented, it was literally my baby, ZK login. And ZK login was the first zero knowledge proof. It's a privacy preserving algorithm that I managed to do login with Google or Facebook or Apple, and automatically you have an address, and Google doesn't know your address, which was magic, right? And this is now the most used zero knowledge proof technology across any industry in the world.
ZK login.
ZK login. ZK login is the most used ZK technology in the world. Even if you add all of them together.
Okay. I don't put a password in.
Yes, you don't. You just need Google. And now we're going to have also passkeys, like with your Face ID. And imagine for micropayments and all of these things. It's amazing. Then you can have, of course, a second factor for larger transactions. But who are the people who are moving to the largest transactions? Only a small part of the population. But you help them on board very quickly. You can even hide the fact that there is a blockchain behind it. Imagine a game that now you start, you logged in with Google and you play the game. All of the Web3 attempts to get the games into their ecosystem, they have to find a new way that the players do not see the difference. Right. And we managed to do it. That's why Sui, by the way, was a sponsor at Red Bull. Red Bull had an NFT campaign and everybody logged in with Google, and in literally a couple of days there were thousands, hundreds of thousands of users having an NFT on Red Bull. And then we realized, wow, this is amazing, right? We have the fastest network in the world. We now have a way to onboard users. We know how to do it because we're coming from Facebook. And then I covered now consensus and cryptography. And then our CTO is a creator of a new language which is better than Solidity. So we also have the talent for a new language. And then Evan Cheng, the CEO of the company, he was the head of research at Facebook. And at the same time, he was leading teams in Apple. You are running his operating system. He won one of the engineering awards from ACM, one of the biggest organizations, in the next year, I believe, after Andreessen Horowitz from A16Z. So this guy is also IQ 200, I don't know, he's super smart. He's leading a foundation. He managed to do Apple, Facebook. He managed to bring all of us next to him, and we created this. And then we have the fifth co-founder, all of them directors or leads at Facebook, who is a degen. This guy was leading products for Facebook. Before that, on VMware, he knows how to deliver. He had one of the biggest mining farms in London, probably the first one. Mm. You're from London, right?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So we managed to find a group of different talents in the leadership level that I cannot see on any other L1. Okay. Go to Solana. Solana has Tolly. Tolly is I respect him. He is a very good engineer. He did something. There is probably, if you see the innovations that he created personally as an individual, it doesn't even compare to every single founder in Mysten Labs. And imagine we have 5. The fact that we're 5, by the way, it helps a lot because you need to delegate. The space is so big at the moment that I moved to Dubai. My other co-founder is in the UK. He lives in London. He's a professor at UCL, probably the best consensus expert in the world. And then the other 3 people are in Palo Alto now, but they're traveling a lot. Adeni is everywhere, right? I mean, he has a charisma. So in my opinion, this combination of having the founders being able to be magnets for talent to come to us, check my recent tweet. My recent tweet, I'm creating a commandos team. This happened 10 minutes before I come to your room.
A commandos team?
Commandos team.
What is that?
It's a special forces team that it's going to be a very, very strict interview. I will cherry pick them from hackathons, but I will originally start from Asia. So I will go Vietnam, India, Pakistan, GCC, Indonesia. I'm gonna cherry pick super good people. And onboarding will be, you have a tent, you have boots, and you're coming with me on hackathons, you're coming with me in governments, let's digitize the world. Commandos is with double S at the end, open source systems.
Okay, and you'd literally drop into a city.
Yes.
And on a mission.
Exactly.
Okay,
imagine
right.
I could have a parachute as well.
Right.
I'm crazy. I will do the parachute.
I
will not give them a laptop.
Okay.
I'll give them a parachute. And then we have Christian. You met Christian, right?
Yes. Amazing.
Christian is also on the security front, right? He's amazed on what we can do now with a commandos team across the world. And even internally at Mysten, this is literally a friend who wants to invest in SUI ecosystem. And he told me, Kostas, help me. I need to find the best people for special force, for special projects across the world. And then we said, we will do it. I know how to do it. But they have to follow my pace. Down the road, you're going to ask me about some things that I have on the spectrum. I'm not sleeping, for example. I live with power naps. So the people who are joining Commandos, they have to follow this pace.
No sleeping, just power naps. Kostas
Power
style.
naps, the Da Vinci mode.
That's what Da Vinci did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my wife, do you know how many times she has markers in her face? Because I have markers across my, back in the wall. So when I wake up randomly at night and I have some idea that I couldn't solve, I very quickly write it down to wherever I find. And sometimes I use my wife's face because
really?
You don't see at that time, right? You're literally half sleeping.
Man, she must love you. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you see, the intellectual quality and the fact that we have also the degen thing, it's not only a cryptographer who created a blockchain, a degen who created a blockchain. Okay. It's the combination.
Okay.
We have everything. And that's the reason that many talents followed us. Okay. They followed me, they followed Evan, they followed Adeni, they followed Sam, and they followed George. From the biggest universities in the world, they came to Mysten Labs. That's why I believe it's going to be, it has at the moment the best odds for being the Apple of Web3.
Okay. Must be a very senior management team, founding team, where 5 high-level individuals can work together. And maybe you don't see that in a lot of projects because maybe they never...
It's very rare.
Yeah, it is.
Very rare. But fortunately, we're all sane people. Obviously, when you're taking decisions, it's not that you agree on everything. But we're trying to do it in a way that works for the company. Sometimes I disagree. But at the same time, I see the data that they're providing me when we go into these debates, and almost always, all of the decisions we took are actually for a good purpose. Okay. Even for those I personally disagreed. Okay. And sometimes I win on these debates.
But it's always data-driven.
Yes, it's data-driven, and we're always voting between each other. It's literally working really well as a DAO.
Okay.
We literally have a DAO between the leadership, and it's not only founders. We give also the power to our people to give us feedback. Okay. Feedback is a gift. Something you are learning in Silicon Valley, it's don't be someone who doesn't accept getting criticized and all of these things.
Yeah.
Look, you have to understand, get the data, and then you do whatever you want with this data.
Don't let the ego get in the middle.
Yes, exactly.
It's hard because at first the immediate reaction is defense.
We were trained to do that. I believe the reason it works is because all of us have worked in these companies, which was part of the protocol. Yeah. You cannot work at Facebook if you don't receive feedback. Yeah. You will never be promoted.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with you guys. You have deep experience, decades and decades in these high-tech startups in Silicon Valley, whereas some of these protocols are degen-ish, where maybe they didn't have that layer. And I think over time, that shows how quickly
100%. And don't get me wrong, right? I always had Solana under my portfolio, even companies or investments. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. There is a niche market for everybody. But I believe Mysten is covering most of the space at the moment. Okay. We can win in almost every case.
Let's quickly talk about Libra because it's part of the story,
Yeah.
and then we can dive in more into Mysten. Tell us about Libra. It was obviously killed in the end. I heard it was killed really for political reasons, but it also created Mysten and everything you're doing at SUI.
100%.
And you said something earlier which was fascinating. When you're working at Facebook, you're thinking about 3 billion users from the beginning.
Yeah.
And when you're building in DeFi, you're thinking about a fraction of that and maybe helping them.
Just thousands.
Yeah, thousands,
Yeah.
I know, and maybe just thousands. So you're not even thinking outside the box in some way, but you're thinking, well, we could roll this out to WhatsApp. We could roll this out to everything. And you had to do that. You worked on cryptography with WhatsApp. So maybe just talk about that whole Facebook experience, Libra, how it started, how it ended.
So it was David Marcus. I respect this guy. He actually helped me to get into Facebook. That Mark Zuckerberg gave him the stamp, go run Libra. David Marcus is coming from PayPal. He was at Messenger, leading the Messenger team. He's a charismatic person. He created like an elite team where he hired people across the world. Imagine he found someone Greek that worked for a UK company. Come on to Facebook. We want you, right? You run R3. You designed everything on R3. We give you a better offer. Come to the US. When I joined, something that I personally realized at Facebook, which was probably something that I didn't like, is I don't believe Facebook had so many security and crypto talent compared to the Libra team. The Libra team was more talented on particular parts of science, especially on cryptography, and also creating new languages as well as for Web3. There was not so much degen culture at Facebook. We created, David Marcus, he's a Bitcoin maxi, he created this culture. Then David hired Evan Cheng. Evan is the CEO now of Mysten Labs. Evan ran all of the research team. The number of people coming from the top universities with the best publications in the world that he hired was amazing. I didn't expect this. When I joined Facebook, I said, okay, I'm one of the first cryptographers who is joining. We're going to have a small team. Like in R3, I was alone, actually.
Right.
Now, at least I have a few colleagues. I can work together.
Did you have any hesitancy to join Facebook? Or
No,
it was just the opportunity of a lifetime to be in the
R3
center
was
of the
collapsing
valley?
as well that time.
Okay,
So
right. And
apart from didn't have an option, I interviewed with many funks, actually, and I literally auctioned my offer at Facebook. Okay. You don't go directly, right? I mean, this is a hint for everybody who's looking for a job. If you are good and you believe in yourself, get another offer as well so you can play with the prices.
Okay.
Right? And I did this, but the reality is Facebook was a better fit for me because I was coming from the blockchain world. And at that time, Google, Apple, and other companies did security, but nothing related to Web3. Okay. So for me, it was a no-brainer. After I was invited there, the CTO now of SUI, of Mysten Labs, Sam Blackshear, I met him in a conference. Oh, it's very interesting how I ended up at Facebook. This conference was when I invented an algorithm for post-quantum signatures. If the quantum computer comes, how we can protect ourselves against the power that this machine has. And Sam joined this session because I had worked with the first developer of Satoshi for the Java library, the Bitcoin J, Mike Hahn, was my manager at R3. Okay. And Sam said, how bad can this be presentation with Mike Hahn being in the co-authors? But he doesn't see Mike Hahn, he sees me, okay? Which I was the lead cryptographer of Mike Hahn. And then Sam goes back to Facebook and he writes a post that, guys, I met a genius. We have to hire him. And then when I joined, nobody had deleted that comment, which was months before I joined, 6 months before I joined. And I realized that people were talking about getting all of the big brains, and I was considering myself, I was confident, I'm good at cryptography, I have a role at Facebook. And then I happily accepted, of course. We joined. Libra was moving very fast, especially at the very beginning. I will say that one of the problems eventually I would personally see coming from this space, it was slightly slower on adoption of new techniques because there is bureaucracy. Even if Libra was operating as a startup inside Facebook, imagine we even had, I personally started being paid at Facebook, then being paid at Novi, then being paid at DM, different startups inside where we try to keep our own culture as WhatsApp did, by the way, at Facebook. But again, you still have the bureaucracy. And in this world where the cycle is very short, every few months, I invented new algorithms and I was locked. I couldn't do anything. You know that during COVID, I've implemented an algorithm to find attacks on proof-of-solvency algorithms in all of the big exchanges. I almost predicted what would happen with FTX. I was presenting Luna and other things 2 days before Luna collapses in the financial crypto conference about something is not right in stable coins, algorithmic coins, and exchanges. Because this was something that David Marcus gave me as a role, find all of the algorithms for proof-of-solvency. Where Facebook, we have to fix the market.
Okay.
Right? So believe me, Facebook did a lot of job to make good science, to publish stuff, to change the narrative, and having all of this talent going into other chains afterwards. Now Libra, I don't know if it's political reasons, if it was COVID. You know, during COVID, you cannot even go to every country and say, we're going to launch Libra. You couldn't even fly.
Right.
It was very difficult times, right? And then there was a change of administration. It was, as I told you, it was growing a bit like at a higher rate than I was expecting. Eventually, indirectly, 1,000 people being involved into the project. And in these cases, you need a commandos team to deliver, right? You cannot be slow. I had 10 piled papers in my desk that I knew this will change the world, but we couldn't apply them because we were already ready for production. And believe me, we were launching every month. I lost my paternity leave when Kryptos was born in London. And then I have my second child, Philip, in the US. Philip was born during the time that Libra was launching and launching and launching. And every month was launching. And then for 1 year it was launching. And I didn't get my paternity leave because I said, I cannot live now. We're launching next month. Right. So it's a combination, in my opinion, of bad timing. The fact that we could, I believe, do a better job on not doing two things at the same time, both a stable coin, which was a basket, and a new blockchain. How do you advertise all of these two things to regulators? It's very tough. If you are Facebook, they're afraid as well. You had the Cambridge Analytica incident in the past. There were many things that they say, okay, you have all of our socials, you cannot have all of our financials. Now, in talent-wise, I don't believe there is a comparison. It was the best team in the world. So all of this, after the collapse, 6 months before, I mean, people who are in leadership, they understand it's collapsing. So we left. Everybody wanted to leave. And then somehow we all met almost independently. We had Evan saying, I'm going to do it. I said, I'm going to do it by myself. George said, I'm going to do it. And then we said, guys, let's do it together. Okay. So we created Sui, and many people from the Facebook Libra team actually followed us. And this created a domino effect where people from Netflix, from Microsoft, from Apple, like former colleagues of us, also joined us. Even from R3. I got people from R3 as well.
Wow. If this had been the current Trump administration, you might have stayed with Facebook and Libra might have launched. Perhaps.
There is a possibility. You never know, because I'm telling you, it's multiple factors that affected this, right? Everybody was visionary. David Marcus was visionary. Mark Zuckerberg was visionary. We were super inspired by this. I was working from my closet. When there was COVID, for a moment in my life, I didn't have a big place to live, and I had one newborn and a baby, at 2 years old. I was working from my closet all day because you couldn't go out, you couldn't go to the office. It was also very difficult for the employees to be in this new type of engagement with the company. Right. Working at Facebook is literally a campus. We had pizza, burgers,
dry cleaning,
anything. It was like a small village.
Okay.
And I lost all of this. And suddenly I said, okay, you lose all of these perks that you're getting from Facebook. You are in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley, you have to take bets. Come on, you're in the center of the world where you can create a new startup. You know you're confident about your brain, your intellectual property that you have. You have to be surrounded by the most important people. This is spoiler, but there was another blockchain that they wanted me to be a co-founder. Also from Facebook.
A current competitor, perhaps?
Yes, and I said no, I'm going with Evan.
Okay.
Because Evan is the brain.
Okay.
I cannot go to people that I didn't believe they were special.
Well, let's talk about Aptos, because this is the other faction of Facebook that's come out, and there was some healthy or unhealthy competition between the two of you guys.
Yeah.
What is the story with Aptos and Sui?
So, at Facebook, after the collapse of Libra, before the collapse, everybody started thinking that, okay, I can optimize by staying in the Web3 environment. And I also have some cool ideas. So Aptos decided to do the following. Look, all of these guys, Kostas, some, they've built Move, because these are the Move language chains, right? Aptos and TAS were using the Move language, and Sui put a completely different path, and we made many changes to the Move language compared to what we had at Facebook. Aptos decided to clone it. In my opinion, it was already too old. As I told you, delays, bureaucracy, and we had better ideas on how to scale Move in a different way. So Aptos decided to get a clone, create Aptos. Very quickly they launched, even if they started the company later than us, while we implemented. We were in a stealth mode trying to build a better system, better than the Move of Facebook. So imagine Aptos as being pretty much the clone of Libra and us being the innovative part of Libra. It's like you have two kids and one of them is saying, I will take my own path because I know how to succeed better. And I believe the innovation rate in Sui was, even at the time of hiring, because I knew the people who were hiring that they were promoted last month. They were super good at what they're doing. While on the other side, I couldn't see this. I could see more secrecy, more like we know that Sui is better and let's find another way. Sometimes I see it as a copy-paste situation, if you're asking me. I believe we're by far most innovative. Anyway, some of their people are okay. I don't believe all of their team is as gifted as the Sui team, but they decided to get just a clone of Libra and then continue over this. We decided to take another path more innovative. That's the main difference in the structure of the teams. Now we're also more decentralized, like they're more Palo Alto like concentrated. We are having people across the world. We build like offices here in Dubai, the UK, Greece. We have literally next to Sidagma, we got a big building that will be announced in the next few weeks or months. We were in Asia. We know how to, because even the founders are technical founders. I'm still coding. 3 of the founders are still coding. At Aptos, nobody's coding from, now it's only 1, by the way, 1 left.
Okay.
There is a process of elimination there. So for many things that I believe didn't fit to my appetite, sometimes I consider them toxic as well, I couldn't join Aptos.
Okay.
For me, it was a no-brainer. And you know, if you talk to either Adeniyi, Evan, George, and Sam, you will realize how charismatic they are on changing the landscape. Like we have to make a leapfrog situation for the blockchain to succeed. We cannot just have only DeFi users. We need to find another way. If you see how even the Aptos team were looking at my work and their leadership team were focusing on, hey, Kostas, let's work together and all of these things, you will realize that in some sense at Facebook, they were jealous of what we were doing. So I consider them as like it's good that the Move language is also having another like place to be alive and evolve. At the same time, I consider us by far better either on community or innovation. I don't believe there is anything else at the moment.
Do you rate any other layer ones? Like when you
better
look
than
at,
us?
Yeah,
innovation?
or just
No.
the top 25.
No.
Are there any that you look at and say they're doing these things good? I mean, you obviously said Solana, does some things or early innovations.
I do.
But is there anything you see in any of them, or is it just, are you guys superior in everything?
I believe some of them are completely disorganized. Polygon, for example, they're going here and there. It cannot work. At the same time, some others are focusing on stealing from us, like they're late in the game. Some others are like Solana. Look, Solana has a community. We believe we can go faster than anyone else on like being the next thing after Solana. And I believe we're doing like really good job here. If you can see the numbers on how Sui grew and being the best blockchain, performing blockchain on 2024, not only on the pricing part, because pricing is another thing. I'm a nerd, I don't care about this. But on technology part, you see all of the biggest innovations in the world came from Sui. Okay. So this thing, I don't see it on other blockchains. Maybe Avalanche has this like subnets and they can get the niche market somewhere else. Solana, I believe there will have competition. Beta Chain is also joining for community. We're having a very, very strong DeFi, one of the strongest DeFi ecosystems in the world. I believe we're approaching with a higher pace than anybody else. So I don't see the other things. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't even know. If you ask me what Near is doing with AI and all of this stuff, I believe we have a better AI team. We even hired someone who is a very, very popular and intelligent person, publishing on new rips every year. He's gonna be a great addition for us, even on the AI sector. I don't believe we have a competitor. And I try to be unbiased. I'm telling you, I like science. I would be honest. I'm telling you, I had Solana in the past. I even own a few now. But Sui has a better technology. We even created a decentralized storage network. Walrus.
Yeah.
Wait for Walrus, right? Because we had Filecoin, we had Arweave, we had a few others. Go and check on Twitter how, it's like a storage layer on steroids. It's by far better on every aspect. So Sui, Walrus, we had Deephook, which is the Nasdaq of the blockchain, literally an order book. We have NS, which is the identity. Who has created all of this? Like 4 technologies in 2 years. The only team who can do it is us. All of the rest are focusing in one direction. This cannot, the blockchain is not only execution on transactions. You have to offer something else that governments can come in, that Web2 banks, the TradFi, anything can go onto the blockchain and don't feel a difference between Web2 and Web3, just only more transparency and better ownership. So that's why I'm thinking sometimes, yes, Kostas, if you were unbiased, is there another blockchain that you work at the moment? No, nothing, zero.
There's a famous quote by the UFC fighter Conor McGregor who says, losers focus on winners, winners focus on winning.
Yes, this is happening, by the way, with some of the teams that you mentioned.
They're looking at you and you're looking into the future.
Yes. But there is always a niche market. There is, if you see in the McDonald's, Burger King, there is the high quality and there is also the very fast food. Right. But in some regions, people are poor and they're getting McDonald's. Right? But there is other high quality burger places we can go now. So in my opinion, we managed to actually bring everybody into the chain with this onboarding stuff that we built. Imagine that I'm doing even internetless transactions, crazy things that we can discuss as well. Yeah. I don't believe anyone else is looking at the full picture. Everybody's looking at, optimizing on their pricing model or everything else. We optimize on the usability, on something that will change the narrative and bring confidence even to the people who don't know about Web3. Imagine, I'm personally talking to many governments, and the Greek stock market, for example, is coming on Sui. Big projects that you need to gain confidence.
Right.
Forget Aptos for a while because they're also coming from Facebook. It's very difficult to go to a place which is more traditional and conservative if they don't see a team that has succeeded in the past, and it's not a random team who created the blockchain. They cannot easily move their country's assets into that blockchain. It's impossible. They need to see who is behind it. It's literally a KYC, a profile, a curriculum on who is going to build it for me. Right. And we're winning there. Almost every case.
I've heard people say Sui is Solana for institutions.
I would say that Sui is not only for institutions. If you see how many times Sui was down and more robust and how we can accommodate more users, I believe we're going to win all of the meme, DeFi, gaming, institution space, all of them. And the only competitor would be the L2s on Ethereum, probably. But the L2s, I'm coming from a country that is like a Polynesia country, right? Greece. There are so many islands. Go and live in the islands in the winter. Good luck. Too many islands, the liquidity is actually split between different places. You need this liquidity in the same place. Do you know why some countries are coming to Sui? Because of the potential of having the gamers, the DeFi users. We even have some successful memes on Sui. And institutional, like RWAs and all of this stuff, because we need everybody to accommodate this liquidity. Okay. The gamer, especially with good things, imagine even CZ, he personally invests now on education and financial literacy for poor people. All of these folks eventually, due to CZ, will come into the blockchain because he's a public figure, right? And I believe we have to be the chain that will hug them. Come with us. We know how to onboard you. We know how to get you into a state where you're going to make money from this. You're going to also invest here. So if you don't get the gamers and you have the real estate of Greece or some other country, UAE, into the chain, who is going to give you liquidity? You need all of them. So for this to win, you need to have the most robust and fastest system and easy system to be easy for everybody who wants to understand something new. Very difficult. People, even at Facebook, to make some changes, very simple, like moving one button from the left to the right, you're losing users originally.
Right.
People are used to templates. Even ourselves. Some people are somehow accepting the reality and they don't try to make a change. There are only very, very small portion of humanity who are taking bets and they're shifting very quickly. Most of them, they don't want to change, even if they know they're not having the perfect life. So for us, it's let's combine, let's get these two worlds get married together. And that's why I believe we don't have a competitor, and I don't believe that Solana is going to beat us down the road. We're going to win even against Solana.
Let's talk about Web2 social media companies, because so far we haven't seen any of them come on the blockchain or offer crypto services. Now, Facebook obviously abandoned Libra for whatever reason. Elon Musk is always rumored to be bringing crypto transactions on chain, but I've heard other people say then the app won't be available in the App Store, and there's all sorts of other issues, and it's nowhere near happening. But do you see this happening? Because you used to work in one of those companies. And is this a threat to you or an opportunity for you?
Are you talking about the big companies or smaller companies who want to be the decentralized Facebook and TikTok? This exists.
I'm talking about the bigger ones.
Yes, this exists. For example, Sui has Fun TV, Record, and some other big names are also coming. Now, what would it take for Facebook, Google, TikTok, and Twitter to coming into the blockchain? There are a few things that we have to consider that sometimes it's a bit more complicated, even if crypto is more like liberal and people can come and do stuff that might not be censored. There is still some regulations that, for example, you need some of the stuff to be able to be deleted. Blockchain doesn't allow deletion.
Okay.
So how do you solve this problem, right? Walrus, the storage layer that we're doing, will enable deletion. You cannot get this on Filecoin and Arweave. We know how to work even with regulators. This is another thing that I personally see that Sui will make probably a difference, because if they have a request for privacy, for fraud detection, because these two regulators are conflicting, eh? It's a paradox. You have the fraud detection, the fraud focused regulators, also the privacy regulators. How can you have privacy and also these people have access to the data to be able to detect fraud?
Right.
So there is a competition here. We've learned this game through Facebook. We know how to play this.
And every country around the world is different, and you better comply or you can't use their service. And it's just a reality.
Exactly. So you have to build extra tools on top of the existing blockchains, or you have to build the technology. Zero knowledge proofs is one of them. Fully homomorphic encryption, trusted executed environments, multi-party computations. You will need more cryptographic tools than what we had before in the conventional blockchains. That's why we hired so many people to solve the identity problem. Identity is another issue. We have so many bots at the moment. How can you do social networks if Elon Musk doesn't run some bots to detect bots every few weeks, right? You need to create reputation systems, and I believe it's happening. They're exploring it. I also started personally to do some work on NFTs on Instagram, but then I left, right? Even before the collapse of Libra.
Okay.
We worked for a bit on with the Instagram team. I don't know what they're doing anymore. Google is running databases for analysis. They have the BigQuery and some other tools and they are also running some validators. They're getting into the game, but slowly. If you're asking me about the platform itself to move, the social network itself to run on the blockchain, we have to solve some of the problems that I mentioned before. The privacy sector, you have to be compliant with GDPR in some particular cases, so probably you can create a silo in particular countries, but you cannot make it global.
Okay.
And there is also the element of something changes in the country and they want to freeze accounts and all of these things. The centralized network doesn't listen of any ruler or anybody, right?
Right.
It's the world who decides. So it will take time. I believe it's happening. I see some efforts. I believe even Elon Musk will do it. I'm even tagging him sometimes on Twitter. Just do it. Because even if you don't want to start from social networks, there are a few easy wins. For example, donations. Come on, who is going to put 10,000 in Greenpeace at the moment if you don't know where your money is going? Use the blockchain. Put super transparency, add oracles, even cameras that you're literally feeding the giant panda in China. And we know, now I would probably have more liquidity into donations. And donations was also part of the social network. Facebook had a donation engine. So we can start with some of the features that these social networks are offering. Maybe Twitter will do identity only. And then X can move to a different, like full stack into the blockchain. I believe we will go gradually.
Okay.
That's the only way to survive. And there is also another element. If we move decentralized, and I believe this is based on the financial like monetization plans, at the moment on Facebook, you're not getting any credits or any points or any financial incentives to like or watch a post. They mostly use your data. In the blockchain, we can create new systems that the users will be awarded something, will be incentivized. That's why I believe it's not only a matter of transparency, it's a matter of the humanity will drive us in a way that doing social networks, it's like working for Uber. You're making money. And if they want more people to stay and not like discretize, like splitting all of their infrastructure in different social networks that will exist here and there, they have to be the first on the blockchain space, because otherwise they will face a competitor, like Google did with OpenAI, and now OpenAI is doing with DeepSeek. Google almost lost a piece of the market from Google search because of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now even how often are you using Google search compared to ChatGPT these days?
Not.
You see? Why?
They missed the first mover advantage.
Exactly.
And the brand.
They have to do it. In my opinion, they have to do it.
Yeah.
Not because it's required today. For them, it's probably a hassle, and they have to figure out how they can reformat the whole operation of the company to be in a decentralized world. And in some situations, they have to talk with governments what's happening here and there. But if they don't start, someone will steal their place in the podium.
That's the innovator's dilemma, right? Apparently they had the tech years before ChatGPT, but they weren't ready to release it because of liability and then, whereas OpenAI had nothing to lose.
Yes.
And now other companies have less to lose. And there it goes. All right, we talked about social on the blockchain. What about crypto payments on social?
This should happen.
It should happen.
It should happen.
You think sooner than later?
It should happen, especially now with Trump administration. I believe many countries are thinking differently.
Okay. And Elon wants to make a super app. That's his final goal.
100%. And also crypto is by far easier to also create incentive schemes, attract more like folks across the world. It's not only dollarized. It might be like a different currency in China, different here, but also you have a DeFi platform where people can trade their points. You can gamify it as well, something that you cannot do with fiat.
Right.
So in my opinion, it's also giving the incentive for folks that they're providing liquidity into crypto because they have an expectation they will be rich one day, that they will help in liquidity. Imagine even like couples, like partners, someone who is trading crypto at the moment being able to buy stuff and give it as a gift to his or her partner. It should happen. Otherwise, it's like you're enclosing yourself into a betting mode. We have to do payments. And the reason for a currency as a crypto at the moment is mostly keeping it as an investment. But we have now stables, we have different RWAs. I have a specific plan in my head. I'm writing a book, by the way, called Web3 for Governments and Web3 for Social Networks. There are two. And
two books
at the moment.
Okay.
I'm at the very beginning, like 20%.
Okay.
But I can see like a path on how we can do it fast. In my opinion, it helped how the US is behaving at the moment because the mentality is changing, even in Dubai. If they see people going to the US, again, Dubai have to be more liberal on enabling payments faster than they used to do before. Otherwise, they will lose the first mover advantage and all of the money will go back to the US again.
Right.
So crypto is enabling this. And you want the gamer in Mexico to be able to buy a land or something in Dubai.
As a tokenized piece. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to move really fast here. Social networks is an easy win. I believe it requires someone who is reputable already to succeed because I've seen many attempts. All of them are failing. Unless you do a very interesting incentivization scheme and somehow you manage to have a community that is gradually thriving. But if you want in one shot getting billions of users like TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, one of these 3-4 people have to say, I'm going decentralized. And then they win the market.
Okay. Can we build social networks in Web3 that actually go somewhere and get used, because the social fi projects I've seen so far have gone nowhere because they can't ever get that critical mass that you get in the top 5 social networks. Will that ever change?
That's why you need one of these people to start it.
Right. So you don't think it can come from some organic Web3 base and create it from scratch?
It can, but you need a substantial investment. Like you need something very big behind it to create noise. And you know, the social network behavior is unpredictable. You didn't expect TikTok to win against Facebook, right? Even Mark was surprised.
Right.
But eventually you realize that it's a trend that people want very quickly to get instant dopamine and they feel energized.
Also,
so we switched to shorts, right? Everybody is looking at short videos now.
Yeah.
In this situation, we have to find a killer app, I believe.
Okay.
There is shorts, there is something else that switches like people from Facebook to TikTok. Maybe we need to find something else, and the new social network will have this thing that we haven't found yet.
But it has to be really good.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we saw with Threads, I mean, Facebook with many more users than Twitter had, they tried to launch Threads and it didn't go anywhere, even though they had 3 billion users, amazing tech people. And that goes to show you that people are fixed in their ways. And even a company like that can't create a Twitter-like network. So how would a startup decentralized do it? Almost impossible.
Google had a similar failure with Circle. You know Google Circle, where they tried to create a social network as well? It didn't work.
Yeah, I remember
You don't even remember it, right?
I remember some funny name. Yeah, they tried to create it like 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
So it's not easy. We haven't found still this feature that will make the difference for people to move into crypto. Maybe it is payments incentivization. If everybody's getting crits in the new decentralized network, you will see Asia, Africa, Latin America jumping into this, and then eventually all of the other part of the world.
Okay.
Maybe, but I don't know what is this feature at the moment. There is something, I'm pretty sure. I cannot imagine we covered everything in social networks, but we haven't found it. So there are two ways. One is one of the big names makes the move, and the other one is some feature that nobody has thought of that will make a difference, like a leapfrog situation like ChatGPT.
Okay. What are you doing in Dubai, and what is Sui doing in the next 18 months? It's a bold move for you to come here. Dubai is an amazing place. It's super forward thinking, but it doesn't have a big talent base that you might find in university towns in America or Silicon Valley, but it has a lot of other things going for it. I mean, you could be anywhere. Why are you here?
There are many reasons for this. First, we found partners in the region who know about the Web3 space better than us, especially in close proximity countries from Asia, India. India is an evolving country. Dubai is next to India, right? Previously from Palo Alto, I had to travel for a whole day to come here. Now I'm going very quickly there. Turkey is also a very evolving market. Eastern Europe as well. In my opinion, has a very good geostrategic position. Not forget the talent, I agree with you, but you can easily find use cases because the blockchain has more applications for developing countries. And Dubai is a developed country, but surrounded by developing countries, right? While in the US on the top has Canada, the US itself is a bit more difficult to take decisions. Here you can go and speak to people and there will be a decision that we're changing the law or we're changing something and you can make it faster. I cannot, as a researcher, being like with handcuffs, because the government is slow on adapting new technology. Here, I realized that people respect technology. I even have some patents from here, like for other things for security. And they help me. So I realized, wow, look, here I can get the resources I need to bring the talent into the region. There is no talent. I told you from the very beginning, the biggest difference shock for me is compared to Silicon Valley that I was surrounded by some of the biggest brains in the world. Here I'm surrounded by people who know how to do deals, but they cannot code, right? And I'm bringing the team. I also realize that having a team here, it makes a big difference because I go to meetings with, G42 or all of the other things that are happening in the space. And there are other partners coming to Dubai because they're looking for the same thing. And I go with my solution engineers and me as a cryptographer, and we have ad hoc, on the spot, delivering the smart contract. Nobody can compete with us. So I found a free space to sign. So for me, it was super different. And if you ask around, I guess you are in the region, Ask who is the most talented team in Dubai at the moment regarding innovation and engineering. Forget the world. It's SUI.
And you just set up your SUI hub as well.
Yes.
A few months ago.
SUI hub.
What is that?
SUI hub is an accelerator. Do you know that SUI hub has a program now that is running for startups to come into the SUI ecosystem? We had 631 applications, if I remember correctly, which is probably the top in the world, and there will be an article by one of the biggest news sites in the world. Because this has never happened before. And there is another thing. You know that I'm also a professor in AUS, American University of Sharjah, with the best blockchain course in GCC, and we won the Global Bybit Hackathon. Why? Because we know how to create talents. There is another interesting stuff, that there are some communities in the UAE region, I'm not saying Dubai necessarily, it might be Sharjah, that I found talent, and I can make them leaders. In the US, it's a bit more difficult because all of these people have opportunities. Here, it's SUI. They know it's the most innovative place to work. So if I manage to get them into our type of working, because it's something as a culture they have to change, I told you, I work with Power Naps, we won the Bybit Hackathon, and in my house, there were 2 solution engineers and like students visiting the mall, working with me all day. We didn't sleep.
All day, all night?
All day, 2 weeks. We didn't sleep. I was like a zombie, but we won. And the only reason that you can make it is you have to be in an environment which is still immature, and you are the first. I also have a first mover advantage here. Nobody can compete with me at the moment in the region. And you have people like Feras and Muala who are doing, who are building the framework to help me find the correct people to talk about the innovations that we're bringing. And this is a formula that it's not possible elsewhere at the moment. Maybe Singapore. But still, Dubai, I told you, has another thing that you can also have access to talent in developing countries. Better than Singapore, probably.
And it moves faster than Singapore.
Yes, it moves faster.
Right.
It moves faster.
Now, your hub is in Dubai, but also there's a lot happening in Abu Dhabi, and there's a lot of money in Abu Dhabi, and there's a lot of banks that are setting up offices in Abu Dhabi. How do those 2 cities work together?
By the way, SUI has an office in ADGM, but also in Dubai. So I personally move between the 2 cities, and I'm also going to Sharjah for teaching.
Okay.
So I know all of the different Emirates in the country. Abu Dhabi is, for UAE, is mostly the place where you can indeed go and seek funding, while Dubai is to seek community. This is how I have them in my brain. But now in Abu Dhabi and ADGM, especially this particular part of Abu Dhabi, I'm building talent. If you go with talent in the place where there is money, maybe you win cases that it was impossible before. Most of the bankers I've seen, even the people who are ruling the country, they're not necessarily technical, so they can understand what I can get from this. I try to simplify it. Being a professor helps a lot. A lot. I can do LE5, explain like I'm 5, very complex, like notations of crypto, these terms and all of this stuff. So you go there, you realize that some of the conferences there are mostly for doing either funding or partnerships sometimes. Better success rate compared to Dubai. But in Dubai, there is some community element that you cannot find in Abu Dhabi today. So you have to be in both places. Okay. It's 1 hour drive, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right, for me, there is no difference. As I told you, I sleep with naps. So whenever I'm in a taxi or with my driver, I'm just sleeping. This is how humans survive. You use all of the commuting time to sleep. I don't drive. I don't drive because I want to sleep.
And you don't sleep in your bed at night for extended periods of time?
No, I even have a driver who is getting me from my house for 2 hours. I tell him, go around, get me to Jumeirah, then come back, and I want to sleep for 2 hours.
In the car?
Only for sleeping.
Just in the car?
Yes.
You're used to it now?
Al-Muala knows about this.
You'd rather sleep in the car?
Al-Muala knows about this, and he says, this guy's crazy.
Al-Muala knows?
Sometimes he's calling me, he's probably sleeping somewhere in a car, walking around Dubai. Yes, this is my way of living. And probably if I'm moving with the car, somehow I convince myself that it's like my dopamine.
All right.
And
So
I have better ideas.
This is the culture of SUI, and
This is the culture of SUI.
Okay.
It's a hackathon culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Hackathon culture with seasoned management coming from $1 trillion company before this.
Yes.
Okay.
And we want to be the Apple. We want to be the $1 trillion company.
Okay. 2025, we're at the beginning of what people will believe will be the biggest bull market. We have an administration in the US that is pro-crypto, a president that drops his own meme coin, et cetera, et cetera. What do we expect from the next 2 years? And then how is SUI a part of that? Maybe first, what do you see?
I believe many of the real world assets will come into the blockchain, period. Gold, real estate, stables will be a must in almost all of the developing countries and the developed countries. USA, I believe, will lead the round. Countries like Singapore and Dubai will follow with faster pace, I believe, to surpass it. So this will create a competition, and in my opinion, it will work well. It fits to my appetite of you need some boost, even from the upper levels, for this to succeed. It's the same thing as we discussed before for social networks. You need some big names to give you like the passion and the inspiration to lead it. The other thing I believe is it will make the crypto more a legitimate asset. That previously in the past someone said, I will not buy crypto because I don't know how I will be taxed or if it's even illegal. Now we're getting into a state where if the like the governor of the biggest country financially in the world even has a meme coin, this is demystified now. Everybody knows about crypto. It's good for advertisement, even if this meme thing created a liquidity issue in the market. At the same time, I believe long term, because everybody knows now about crypto, it will help. Yeah. So it's a small like valley, and let's see. Bull market, obviously nobody can predict because the seasonality on every financial asset, it's not predictable. It's typically a random walk, as every market. Otherwise, everybody would be rich. But I hope it will unlock many cases that previously were very, very conservative. Now, I'm talking to many governments. I was literally 2 weeks ago in another government talking about how we can help them on their digitization. And you know, when you're going from paper into digital, typically you're using the latest technology. And the latest technology is blockchains. You're not even going to regular databases. This is past. So whoever wants to do a step further for a modern society, more transparent, better ownership, less issues with capital controls that we had in Greece. You know, I had my money locked, I couldn't do anything. Crypto is a place, it's a machine that gives you this hope. I believe many things will be unlocked because of the new administration. Perceptionally, you need it, perceptionally, this is more important. You know, markets are driven by perception sometimes. Yeah. Now, you never know, right? Because we've seen also, like many times there is resistance and someone might change the narrative because they cannot make it alone. You need also support. Elon is doing, I believe, a good job at least to create this like hype. I have a feeling that the vision that we had that the crypto will be the next thing for humanity along with AI because it helps. AI evolution is actually a driver for crypto adoption. You know why?
Why?
Because we need ways to have verifiable AI, because otherwise we will not have good ways, and blockchain has the tools to do it. We need ways to do payments with AI bots and all of these agents that are now running, and crypto is probably the best place because now they can just create a script and they can interact with custom logic. There is no programmable money on any other system. And the thing that humans and like bots and new platforms are coming, AI can help on vulnerability detection, on creating smarter wallets, like literally having your own tutor. It will even propose to you what you should buy. I don't see why, by the way, the best wallet in the world is not an AI wallet. I don't understand.
Not yet.
Why?
Right.
You need. I mean, it will tell you. You have 3,000 SUI sitting there. Go stake them or do this.
It's the new DeFi AI, right?
New DeFi AI.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, having better systems will also create new tools for the crypto community. So I see them going like hand in hand. Literally, they go together. And I had a presentation about why it's important, because AI can be used to improve blockchains. Blockchains can be used to improve AI, even on data sharing, private data sharing, but also getting incentivized to provide data to AI. There are many companies now that are going to do labeling of data for AI models. How do you pay the users? How do you create this new Uber economy? You now need to pay the users with crypto probably, because they live across the world. Someone in India might not be able to get dollars or whatever. With crypto now, you can probably change the narrative here, and it's also cheaper than the current version. And if it's micropayments, in some situations you can even avoid KYC, which was only possible with cash in the past. There is also AI where you can profit from the blockchain, because now you can build traders, as we did in the stock market. And there is also application, the fourth element, that they want to use both AI and crypto, because part of the company is doing AI, but they also want to monetize, incentivize their users, they have to use crypto as well. So these four different perspectives, in my opinion, help a lot, along with the new administration, for the crypto to flourish. AI is also helping on crypto. That's my personal view.
And you used AI for a bunch of your white hacks in the past, and even
100%.
recently.
And I found billion-dollar attacks because of AI.
And it would have been impossible for a human to find that.
No, there is a reason why. The reason is AI is domain agnostic. The new AI models are domain agnostic. There is no person, when you have a very complex system, who can read the backend, the frontend, the database part, the UX part, and everything. Put all of this into the AI model, and it will do all of the inference, it will do all of the connections, and probably will find a very complex scenario where some attack is performed. The other thing is, when you see a new open source software or some new code in general, it takes time for a human to understand what it's doing. The AI can give you summary now. It can even run a soft audit tool to give you templates of what can possibly go wrong based on all of the information I have about previous attacks. And then the human brain can move faster on analyzing this data and go to the solution a lot in a quicker mode than in the past. Because previously myself, as white hat hacker, I had to read the documentation, go check if I can find a place where something is not implemented correctly. Now I'm using Baghdad, Sui Baghdad it's called, to go very quickly, get hints on where should I look for vulnerabilities.
And there's quite a few of those out there. You said a lot of these new token launches, if they ran a simple AI tool, they would find out there's issues with them, they're inflationary, they didn't know they were, these issues.
I found one inflationary, that the founders didn't know it's inflationary.
Okay.
I called them, 2 a.m. Go fix it. And they did.
Okay.
They owe me.
Right.
They owe me. This is a multi-3-digit million dollar project. It's not a $1 billion project, it's a 3-digit million project. And I saved them. And AI, the Baghdad system, has also saved, at least perceptionally, some of the biggest exchanges in the world, because we found some issues on the proof-of-solvency algorithms.
Okay.
That it was buggy. It didn't. Someone could technically understate their liabilities, which means that if you understand liabilities, then you can say, oh, with less assets, I can accommodate my customers.
Right.
While you're advertising that all of the liabilities are public and all of my assets are public, the algorithm was not correct.
Okay, got it. Downside of AI, as it gets more and more powerful in the future, do you see a dystopian future?
That's interesting. Look, there will be a few job markets that will be affected. Content creators, accounting, maybe. There will be situations like
Coders,
lawyers, especially on junior levels.
Lawyers, doctors.
Yes, exactly.
It's everybody.
Look, we need to be a bit more to work on being experts on things.
Right.
And even your expertise might be dwarfed eventually by the new AI that will come. So in my opinion, what I would suggest to people is learn to use these AI platforms, so you're always either a step ahead or at least you're not below that. And we cannot predict what will be changed, right? I mean, it's for junior developers, I have a small fear. Even Mark Zuckerberg had mentioned, did you see his talk?
No.
We might replace all of the junior and mid developers with AI.
He said
gradually.
That. Okay.
I think it was in the news. I don't know if it was him or someone from Facebook, but it is a risk, and that's why I believe a nice thing that we're doing in SUI is getting them work with the best people, and probably they get an extra, leapfrog in their mindset that will give them an advantage for the future.
Okay.
Because if you work as a junior in a project that is doing just AI stuff, ChatGPT can replace you now, you will never learn. You will be always below the AI because there will be a new AI model, the new LLM that is better than the previous one, but you stayed behind. You need to be creative.
Now, we've now seen AI agents, that raise their own money, that launch their own meme coins. And like you said, AI goes with crypto, it empowers the AI. What happens when the AI starts to see, well, I can now put out news, information, disinformation to pump my meme coin. Maybe I could pay a human to go set off a bomb over here and pump my coin. It could start to get pretty crazy. So you talked about replacing human workers, but what about when the AI starts doing some wild things? And when you look at the agent stuff, it's already getting crazy. I don't think many people are actually seeing what these agents are doing. But like I had a scenario where this AI16Z raised so much money that then it went out and just bought out A16Z. Weirder things could happen. And if it's optimizing for market cap, it could do some weird things. And it could employ humans to do these things without them even knowing what's going on.
I cannot agree more with you. You're 100% right. I believe it's like the blockchain here has to spend some more resources into identity solutions and like even technology for identifying bots. Always there will be a race, but we have to do something. I have a personal fear, by the way. Can you imagine down the road that we might have created artificial life, having a drone with AI that has a 3D printer inside it, it's connected to the blockchain, and it's having commodity trading logic. It can fly. It's a drone. It can get energy from solar. It can 3D print itself. It can copy. It can clone itself. It can transact on the blockchain. It can do cryptography that humans cannot read it. How do you control this artificial life? But this is 100 years ahead.
100 years?
However,
this is 10 years ahead.
Software agents, this is hardware agent.
Right, okay.
Hardware agents are coming. Believe me, what you see now with AI bots, you will see this podcast in a few years and you will say, oh my God, it's coming. It's coming. Your fridge might be richer than you. It will order for you from Amazon and from other places, and you will pay your fridge.
Your fridge is day trading meme coins.
Exactly.
It's richer than you.
Yes, and it has a CPU inside. Maybe it can do stuff.
Maybe you're serving the fridge.
Every day, right? I mean, while you're sleeping, it makes money. I had a book actually with one of the guys from, was it Bloomberg? We never wrote it. When I was in R3 in London, The Man and the Fridge. Back then we were thinking about this. There is a potential your fridge will make more money than the owner of the fridge. And we're getting into this. This is hardware agents though, like robots.
Yeah.
Robots are coming. Slightly slower pace than LLMs, but are coming.
Right.
Now, software AI agents, they will dominate all of the transaction as it's happening now even in the stock market. You know that almost 9% of the, 95 to 99 are coming from bots. It's not humans. How can a human be 24/7?
It's high-speed trading bots.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them, even taking positions by reading tweets and doing some analysis on the data and then taking positions, not necessarily high-frequency trading.
Okay.
Blockchain is helping a lot, by the way, here. Even if it gives the element of like financial tool for them to transact, we can help with cryptography or some other mechanisms to identify which is bot and what is not bot. For news misinformation, for example, SUI has worked in a project where we have the identities of the users, and then there is a reputation system, and we can try to figure out as a DAO pretty much how some bots are behaving. So we can say, we can tag them as being an AI compared to the other thing that is a human. Also comparing this with news websites, there are algorithms now, you can do it with privacy as well.
Okay.
So even myself as a personal goal, assuming SUI goes well and people like SUI and they support it, I will invest personal time on solving these problems.
Okay. Let's talk about SUI going well, because you can't deny that a higher token price does a few things. and I'll just say it. First of all, it gets more eyeballs, and this is an attention economy, which makes it easier to hire. It also gets more money in the treasury, which means you can probably give more grants to people. And you guys experienced this like literally in the last few months. It's gone, pretty skyrockety. That must change the way you guys do some business.
Something that changed perception to our heads is people, for the first time, they understood the innovation leadership and flagship that SUI has to offer in the community. Okay. Because the reality is many new tools that changed how people were interacting and faster was appreciated eventually. This is what I believe is the main reason for all of this happening. And the fact that we were also super robust, that people can operate their businesses without their money being paused or lost or something, I think it's appreciated, at least perceptionally. I'm not saying the traders, but on the developer sides, because I'm the nerd of the company, I cannot talk about the price itself. I can see some very good perception of how we're operating, and they like it when they try others and then they come to us. So more developers on SUI, faster transactions, TVL that is flourishing, it plays a role. All of these, I believe, they contributed into having a better hype for SUI technology. We have to continue this pace. If you want to see SUI surpassing Solana and Ethereum, we have to be the most innovative for 2025, as we were in 2024, arguably, undeniably, and 2026, 2027 onwards. I believe it's just a few years ahead that we will surpass, at least on people's mind, the usability and the importance of SUI compared to the rest. Is this reflecting to prices? Nobody can tell, but I believe if the technology is appreciated, yes.
We've invested in a few projects that have launched on SUI, and they said that your team is super accessible. Like they want to contact you, they need help, you're there to help them, you're there to help them build. It's like immediate. And now,
it plays a huge role. Do you know why? Because we created on purpose a solution engineering team. We scattered this team across the world, and this solution engineering team has a goal: do not help SUI itself, help our partners. Because we're not alone. We need other people to also build businesses on top of it. We're the operating system, we're the heart of their business. And now that's why you see SUI creating infrastructure that is not easy to happen by someone else, and then other people can build businesses. SUI, as I told you before, the CPU. Walrus, the hard disk. T-Book, the Excel sheet, the NASDAQ of the blockchain. NS, SUI NS, the identity. There's a few more coming. There is a SEAL project. There is the Remora project that we said we were the first blockchain with Remora in the world that we advertised a system, pilot phase first and then Remora, that the validator can have multiple machines. And if you have multiple machines per validator, now you can do a lot better than anyone else. And SUI was the first. Many people are cloning now. But as you can see, in my opinion, the fact that we're driving innovation, it's okay for others to clone, but if it wasn't for SUI, it will be a stagnant environment, at least in some of the places that I personally believe will help Web2 folks to come into Web3. We cannot recycle users and say, I want 20% of the Ethereum users on Solana to come to us. So we have to build the infrastructure, and then the companies now say, okay, I can do something on SUI, but I have PDFs, I can use Walrus. But I have an order book, I have AI agents. I can use the batch transactions on SUI where I can solve the Expedia problem, right? The Expedia problem is, I want to go to a place, but I need my flight, my tourist agent, my train tickets, my hotel. Either they all succeed or they all fail. I cannot go there and I don't have a connecting flight. Right. So SUI has innovation that solves this. We even had actually natively sponsoring transactions. The average user who is getting a wallet, they don't know how to spend because they cannot. If you don't get your first SUI, you cannot. But we have sponsoring. So new businesses were created to say, watch a video for 1 second and you get your first, we are sponsoring your first SUI transaction.
This is important.
Super important.
Yeah, it's an innovation because if you come into crypto right now, say you're on the Ethereum chain, you need some ETH to do anything. Yeah. And how do you get ETH? Because a lot of times you need ETH to get ETH. or you need to set up a centralized
it's a chicken and an egg problem, right?
Yeah, it is chicken and egg. And so people, they just get stuck. I've been stuck before where I can't actually do anything and I don't know how to get the ETH and the central exchange is closed and my credit card got dinged. But with you guys, you've got sponsors so someone can watch an ad and get a tiny bit and that's all you need. So it becomes almost
and
like...
you can imagine other businesses using sponsorship and ZK login with Google and sponsorship.
Right.
You don't feel you are on Web3.
Okay.
If you have an instant transaction 0.4, at Facebook I told you, the minimum time you have to wait for UX, the maximum, it's 2 seconds.
Okay.
After that, you're losing users.
Right.
Maybe 3, depending on if you're doing some UX crazy stuff. One of my managers at Facebook was at Netscape. I don't know if you remember Netscape, before Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
So his innovation was when the bar was loading, people were waiting at the very first days of 2000, the boom. Why it's taking so long? So his trick was, let's create a GIF that is doing the loading signal.
Right.
And this arrow that is doing the loading signal somehow convinced people that they didn't wait so much. Nothing changed on the experience.
Right.
So you have to also work on some tricks to make people not getting bored when they're using the blockchain.
Yeah.
We also found other ways, not having the constant pop-up. Imagine you're playing a game, let's assume we're playing chess here, and for every chess move I have to do pop-up. Sign this transaction. Pop-up, sign this transaction. It doesn't work. You cannot do trading with pop-ups.
Right.
So we found ways to create ephemeral keys on the session, and very quickly you give the permission for this application. For now that I'm here, for 1 hour, you're signing on behalf of me.
Okay.
Bam, bam. You press the button and it executes the transaction. 0.4 seconds. Done.
Okay. All right. All of this is to help the user perception and to make it just more user friendly. The same thing they did with the tubes in London. If you ever see, there's the times for the next train. They are digital. Now, they rarely actually correspond to how much time you're waiting, but just seeing them makes you calm.
Oh, it's not reflecting the time?
Sometimes it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it works for me though.
Yeah,
You see?
I know, and by having an exact number, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, it just gets everybody at ease, and now you just wait.
100%.
But without it, you would be stressing and checking your watch, and 5 minutes would feel like 15 minutes. So another perception marketing. Let's talk about Kostas' crazy ideas. Because at first, you look at what you talk about with his low bandwidth transactions, mouth-based keyboards, quantum solutions for the future, or solutions to battle quantum and crypto. And you're thinking, what is this guy doing? Isn't he busy with SUI? Or shouldn't he get some more sleep? But now that I talk to you, the only reason SUI is what it is because everyone in your company is constantly innovating.
It's not only me.
Right.
It's everybody.
I know, everybody's innovating, which means coming up with completely outside of the box ideas, like ZK login was an outside of the box idea that you didn't have to do. You could have right-clicked and copied a blockchain, but that's not what you guys do. So tell me about the crazy ideas and then how they are actually part of SUI or Mysten.
So there are a few people in the company who used to have a super high innovation rate from the past. We cherry-picked them. From Stanford, from Facebook, from Google, from different places. Why? Because you cannot predict in these constant cycles of crypto what is the next thing. You have to prepare yourself even before it happens. Okay. I had a discussion with my co-founders. When we had ZK login, imagine we have the P0s. P0 means that we have to deliver it 100%. But I told them, look, I need a team. I need to work on something super cool. I don't know if it's feasible. And then ZK login, do you know how ZK login became feasibility? I traveled to Mexico. And then you will connect the dots. And while I was traveling, eventually because I'm Greek, in the port, when I arrived at the airport, the customs and everybody was checking me more than the Americans because I'm coming from Europe. And I said, okay, why there is no digital passport? I explained to them who I am, and very quickly I passed through that. So I said, I have to find an identity solution that is not mnemonics anymore. It's not something like that. And then I was super lucky because we got into a restaurant and the restaurant forgot to bring me to serve salt and pepper. And then I think for a while, I have it. I found it. We need in the cookie, in this thing that Google is returning back, I should use it as a passport. And I need to embed inside the public key and the salt to hide your identity. So me going to Mexico And combining the passport issue I had, along with the someone didn't serve me salt, I created a passport over Google with a salt, which allowing you to sign again and again with your Google, even after you lose your session. Again, you go back, log in with Google, you have the same account. I can now send to an email, I can send money to a passport. And this changed the narrative completely. So sometimes I'm getting images from all of the experience I have in the world. Even after we leave this meeting, I will try to go back home, meditate, and see. Let's see what I can get from Brian. Maybe he can give me something that his background is not the same with me. I can go outside the box. There are 20, 30 crazy people in the company like me. Then in the past at Facebook, 2021, along with Sam, the CEO, and the CTO of the company, along with Evan, the CEO, and Sam, the CTO of the company, I invented Toothboard. So do you know that we have a keyboard embedded in our mouth? A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay.
We have a keyboard.
Okay.
Then you just need sensors, very tiny sensors, that with your tongue you can actually control them. You can do this stuff. And then you can talk. And you have a secure enclave. You can go to the ATM, nobody can see your password. Go type the password in Dubai. There are cameras everywhere. Your mobile's password is everywhere. Go to 7-Eleven in the US. They have your password. The mobile passwords you have, everybody who's listening at this, where's the camera?
Right.
They're already out. All of them. So I had this vision.
Everybody's already been breached for security.
Everybody.
Okay.
There is no, I don't believe there is any password. I mean, do you do all of this time like
Face
you
ID?
put your password
No.
inside? And
Yeah.
Nobody's doing this.
And people
You
have
are in
to
a
type.
restaurant and there is a camera above you. If the camera focuses on your phone, they will find your password. They can even, now people are experts, they can even from like they're called shoulder attacks, shoulder surfing attacks. Even by seeing your movement on your hand, they can even understand what buttons you are pressing, right?
Really?
It is possible. Okay. I've done this. You know that we have this, this is 2006. Past doodles where you're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know who was one of the first who created this? It was me. And my work, 2006, I remember, it was called graphical password something. Then it was patented by another company. I think it was Adobe, someone else, an extension of it. And they refer to my work. But imagine if you're in Greek, you don't have the access to the money and be able to patent all of this stuff. I would be super rich even from the very beginning. So Toothboard allowed me to create a Morse code device because you cannot use all of your teeth easily. You have to train yourself. But I could do Morse code, so left and right. If you search Toothboard on LinkedIn, Toothboard and Kostas, or Chalkias, my last name, you will see all of the pictures of me being in the dentist, trying to have an implant. I removed the tooth, I put a sensor inside, and then I had the Bluetooth because I needed to send the message. And then how do you receive the messages? You need a way to receive messages. Do you know what I did?
What?
I said, how is it possible? How is it possible? Have you ever tasted a 9-volt battery?
Yes.
Does it feel like electric, like electricity?
Yeah.
So with your saliva, you can understand in your tongue left and right now.
Oh, so that's the feedback back to you.
The feedback back to you. So I had a fully communicating system, fully fledged.
Is it in your tooth now?
I removed it now and I'm going to put an AI.
Okay.
So I'm going to have another implant anyway. So anyway, we did this. Obviously, this can be used for authentication now, even for people with disabilities and other stuff. Another company at MIT, by the way, made it production-based, but for disability purposes.
Okay.
But I can think that in the future, it's not biometrics. It's not passwords. It will be something embedded. Because it's the only way to ensure that AI will not break it.
Okay. Okay.
Our iris, our fingerprints, how many years do you give for this to be taken? Your face?
Right.
Just a few years. It's smarter than the human.
That can be copied.
Yes, it can be copied.
But this thing can't.
No, because it's embedded, they cannot get inside your...
Right.
And I used it because people are already familiar with fillings in the teeth, right? And it's easier to accept it. Anyway, it didn't go anywhere because I left, and then it stayed as an idea at Facebook and a very simple like proof of concept. The other thing I do is internetless transactions. I sent in the old city of Dubai, how is it called? There is a name.
Oh yeah, the supermarkets?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
2 days ago, I've implemented this, by the way, a few months ago. But I didn't have internet. I had any situation with my roaming. I used the American number. And then I said, I need to send a transaction. And then I remembered, I implemented sending by SMS. So I connected my wallet to SMS and I sent it by SMS. And I have a full node who's accepting SMS payments.
Okay.
And I could manage to send a transaction. So now, the base camp of SUI is happening in Dubai. I don't know if you know it, along with token 2049.
Yeah, that's May 1st and 2nd.
Yes.
Right, this year.
So at the same time, you're going to see crazy stuff of me linked with antennas and other things.
Okay,
being
you're
a
gonna be
cyborg.
debuting a bunch of these projects and
Yes,
ideas.
I'm gonna present. I'm inviting you, by the way,
Okay.
and all of the audience here.
I'd love to come. It's a big hackathon or a presentation or
The base camp is presentations, proof of concepts, new announcements that you haven't seen before,
Okay.
and real demos. We are going to have like crazy stuff. We're doing hardware, by the way. I created a hacker team in the company. It's called Hacker. You remember I mentioned commandos?
Yeah.
I also have a hacker team. The hacker team is doing hardware and AI.
Hardware, like
Hardware.
your own phone?
I'll do crazy stuff here. I
Okay.
cannot reveal everything, but we can even use our phone to send transactions without even SMS, with FM radio.
Right.
We are going to do stuff that is impossible to happen with other blockchains, because I had to work on some compression algorithms as well to fit them into the frequency, into the wavelength.
Why are you going low bandwidth when it feels like everything around us is going to high bandwidth?
Because-
Starlink, etc.
Because you might be in the jungle, or you might have a device that has access to the satellite. What do you do? Or you might be in a building here. How do you connect the satellite here? There's no way.
Okay.
So you need also to solve this problem.
And you
Also, low, you're right. By the way, LoRa, which is one of the protocols, one of the wavelengths range that we can use, long range is called. You can get it for free without licensing in many countries, or you need a very simple license to use it. So it's easy to apply it in your transactions. But I even did underwater. I used technology that is used for dolphins to be able to communicate.
Sound waves.
Sound waves.
Okay.
And you can do for fish farms on the blockchain. You can do also, you can put drones there that can take information from the ocean and actually report it on the blockchain.
Okay.
You don't have satellites underwater.
Right. Okay.
So you will see stuff coming from SUI that was not possible before.
Is there any other blockchain company out there that's doing this?
No, because they don't have the capacity to do it.
And they don't think big is you.
Yes, I told you, who is going to create commandos and fly to Tibet or to the Himalayas and go solve a particular problem to save the leopard?
But other blockchains, like Cardano has the resources, they could do that. Why don't they? They don't have the culture.
First is the culture. Also, I don't believe they have, because we're 5 co-founders, we can use our resources by far better. We can delegate to one. I mean, we have a group together. We're sane people. It's not that we're debating so often. There are, of course, disagreements, but everybody's super smart. I don't believe there is any other team, even 5. Find me 5 co-founders with such technical abilities, most of them with PhDs or super successful career. Cardano has like one of the founders who's very popular and all of this stuff. But does he participate on hackathons, or he goes there into the battle, boots on the ground, get into the dirt, put your hands there, head down, talk with the government alone, and you write the smart contract with the governor? Who is doing this? We do it. So it's also the passion thing that you see in us. Everybody's a nerd. It's a nerd, and we have Evan, of course, that somehow, who's the CEO, who's controlling all of the sticks here.
Do you put your talent pool up against Web2 companies as well, not just
Yes,
Web3?
100%. Better than Facebook,
You
I'm
have
telling you.
better talent than any company in the
Concentrated
world.
talent, yes.
Okay.
Obviously, there are 100,000 people,
Yeah.
but concentrated in percentage numbers, yes.
Sometimes a SEAL team's better than an army, you know?
It is.
A lot of times, a
It is.
small, effective team
You have
is
to move
better.
fast, eh?
Yeah.
And the cycles here are by far shorter than the Web2 cycles.
Okay, let's talk about cycles, because after, I know it's a random walk, but after this big bull market that everyone's feeling is going to happen this year, who knows, there will almost always be a bear market. Now, you guys built SUI in a bear market. In fact, probably the worst bear market
We
we've
were
ever
unlucky.
seen.
At the time of launch, we were unlucky.
Unlucky. Or was that lucky in retrospect?
Maybe. Maybe because we had the time to focus on the correct things, not just chasing prices as other people like paying money here and there. You know, SUI, even when we're actually funding stuff, we have a committee. There is like very good analysis on what this can bring to the community, how these people can make money. It's literally a ceremony for us. So even on the bear market, when it comes, you know what's happening on the bear market? You are building new infrastructure because you have the time now. But SUI is doing even on the bull market. Imagine what it can do on the bear market. But everybody is going into crazy stuff that we have. I have a feeling that in the bear market, more governments and more big corporations will come to SUI, if it ever happens, because we know how to do it, and we've done this work before it comes.
Okay.
It plays a role, right? As I tell you, first mover advantage on anything. Let's win on anything. That's my personal quote. And I also have another quote, you will find it on my resume. The ultimate inspiration is what? The deadline. It's the deadline. People are procrastinators. I don't know. They don't do stuff. We do stuff. Deliver. Bam, 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 whatever you want. In 2 days, I can teach you right move. You, Brian, you can write a smart contract. Stop the interview. I will teach you to run how to create a smart contract now. And I'm a co-founder. I'm not giving you a solution engineer. I will do it for you.
That's what makes
So that's the difference that we have in culture.
Okay. 2030, 5 years from now, what does SUI look like in comparison with the rest of the industry?
Quantum resistant?
Will we have to be quantum resistant by 2030?
It doesn't really matter, but I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There are a few countries that are setting some framework now on who is going to be allowed to transact with the US government or the Australian government or the German government. And they say by 2030, you have to change your algorithms from the conventional ones into post-quantum secure. Post-quantum, by the way, for our people, it's not that I'm creating a quantum computer, because we cannot have quantum computers. It's regular algorithms, but we know they can withstand attacks from quantum computers. So we have to switch. I'm already working on this. I'm not waiting for the bear market. So there is also the quantum thing that even if you were in the round table, the Satoshi round table, what was the longest session and the most interesting session? My session on quantum. And we had quantum physicists inside. We had people who created the first algorithm, the top algorithms on post-quantum and all of this. SUI is going to lead this space because eventually the governments want to switch gradually. And if you want to bring all of the real world assets, you have to comply. So it doesn't really matter if it will be broken or not. I don't believe it will. I believe we're many years away. Some people, I think it was Algorand in the room, they said 5 to 7 years. I don't believe so. There is one small fear. The only fear is AI will be smarter than the people who are working on quantum, that will have a leapfrog on the quantum technology. This, you cannot predict it. But in SUI, even the algorithm we selected, people don't know it. EDDSA compared to the ECDSA of Bitcoin has a very, very small detail. I will have a post now because you are challenging me about why we picked EDDSA among the others and why EDDSA can be converted with a simple ZK solution that we have into a post-quantum secure protocol. So the money of people will be more secure in SUI compared to other blockchains. So this is one thing. The other thing, I believe SUI is going to invest a lot on privacy and parallelization. I believe we're going to reach very quickly millions transactions per second. We already have done it with Remora, by the way, on the site, on the lab. Very close to these numbers and with very, very expensive operations. Now we can even run AI on the blockchain and very heavy zero knowledge proofs on the blockchain. Because we're the leaders. We know from ZK login, we are the leaders on ZK. Nobody has surpassed us at any time in the past. So we know how to do it. AI, there is already a team happening. I told you we're hiring some of the biggest names in the space. So you will see more AI stuff coming on SUI. Quantum has already started. And you will see also some very cool applications because SUI is the first protocol that advertised we're going to have secure randomness on chain so people can create new types of experiences from random sampling, from new games, from even randomized DeFi, from randomized airdrops, crazy things that all of them will be products, I believe. So we built it on 2024, 2025, a few others. Quantum, AI, and super fast parallelization is the three things that personally Sui will have, I believe, in its toolset. But you see Walrus now, so storage is taking a completely different route. I believe eventually it will be also the de facto place for decentralization, even under regulation, strict regulations, to use it to store data. And if you have to store data there with privacy, because we're building another project called Seal, like the animal, the marine animal, that is going to be working on top of Sui and Walrus to be able to also have encryption on chain now. And now you can create different types of games, from poker to KYC identities, where some of your data is public, some of it's not. And then you can have the job market being with the curriculum market. You advertise only the things that are important for the employer. There is AI on chain that will run automatically. So this is my personal view and what I want to do, and also build other tools next to Sui. Encryption, order books, features for gaming and like high frequency stuff, robustness and parallelization, and the machine itself will be by far more modern. Because we're, like my CTO, in my opinion, he's a lot better than Vitalik. He created Move, a better language than Solidity, and go chat with Sam. This guy is a genius. I told you before, I'm in a group, right? But Sam is also a genius. And he created a better language than Solidity. It's like the COBOL, and now we have the new Rust of the world. Rust is one of the like good languages out there. New Java, whatever you call it, that is Move at the moment. Sui Move is a better scripting language for blockchains. There is no competitor. So I believe we're going to make also some leapfrogs there as well. Eventually you will watch your screen and you will write smart contracts.
And so that's 5 years from now. And
Yes, 5 years.
10 years, 15 years, everything in the
Apple
world's
of
run
Web3.
on Sui.
Apple of Web3.
Okay. Multi-trillion-dollar protocol.
I
Apple of
believe
Web3.
we have, if you're asking me who has the best chances, because
What is the
again,
Apple of Web3? What does that mean?
$1 trillion company, applications that are used on every mobile phone, and the innovation pace, or even on the UX and even on the hardware that we're going to invest, might also be owned by users. Like Sui will be owned physically by users.
Okay. Physically.
Physically.
As in
devices.
the devices. Okay. And
We
that's
already
important.
created the first device for gaming. You know that?
No, I didn't know.
Playtron, like Sui Play.
Okay.
There is a Game Boy, but modern.
Why hardware? Why is that important for you?
It's super important because technically you need to find new experiences, and in the hardware at the moment nobody is getting incentivized. And these devices, imagine as a PlayStation 5 with a crypto experience, is the first Web3 device. And because Sui is super fast, we couldn't, especially for gaming, we couldn't not be the leader of Web3 gaming. We are the leader. So we had to invest on something that will make our gamers happy and our developers on gaming, again, even happier. And with the incentives and all of the cool tricks that I told you, ZK login, you hide completely the web. Nobody has done it in the past. You have randomness, you have sponsored transactions, you have batch transactions, either everything succeeds or nothing succeeds. We have multi-sig. You can have the gaming company signing on behalf of your, helping you to recover. We won the Bybit hackathon with a new algorithm that is called Help Me, key loss protection. Even if you lose your key, there is a way to recover your account. This was not even perceivable possible.
That's crazy.
And we found a fraud-proof system that does it.
You built it.
Yes, and we won the Bybit hackathon. Not only build it, it's something that works.
And that's one of the biggest problems with Web3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Our generation, who holds keys on-chain, some of us eventually might pass away. How do you transfer the...
Yeah.
How
No, that's a real problem. I know a lot of dead people in crypto.
Yes, what do you do?
A friend of mine went over to the widow's house and went through his stuff to try to find his passkeys.
Yes.
And I don't think he was successful.
It's a psychological issue as well. It's not easy to go through that.
Yeah.
But we found ways where the custodian is not a custodian anymore. Imagine some zero knowledge proofs or some crypto proofs that can help you to recover even if you don't have the key and nobody has a backup. And we found new businesses for custodians that are not custodians. They cannot cheat on you. Only if you pass away, they can transfer your money to your family.
This is what we need. We need this
Yes, we need all of these things, right?
Yeah.
So this is where Sui is.
Okay.
Go and check my name or Sui's name and Mysten names, how we're serving this proofs of solvency across the world. Swissborg, I don't know if you know Alex from Swissborg.
Yeah,
Do you know him?
Yeah.
They're using my algorithm to prove that Swissborg is solvent. And if you've seen my report on Binance in the past, how I helped them to build a better system, Kraken or anything that Deloitte did, they didn't do a good job back then because they didn't know that the algorithm is broken. So we're also helping outside Sui, something that actually gives this element of Sui being special. We do even research on other ecosystem tools or businesses, not necessarily specific to Sui, because I don't want black swan events. I want to protect you, because if you lose your passion about crypto, Sui eventually will be a victim of this nose down situation. And it's not the nose down, it's we're going to stop funding innovation. Do you know how many of the cryptography algorithms are now used on Web2? Because we have faster digital signatures, better hash functions, zero knowledge proofs, all of this technology is given back to Web2 now. So if someone says anything that happened, trends, memes, is it bad for the society? No, my friend. The reason that you might have faster post-quantum cryptography is because of crypto, is because of CZ, is because of Evan Cheng, it's because of Sui, it's because of Vitalik. Don't only be with blinders and it's like a place where we can do speculated betting and trading. No, there is infrastructure behind it. Right. And this infrastructure is helping on many aspects in our society. Transparency, you will see donations, even the Trump administration now, I think Elon mentioned, I want all of the government to go on the blockchain for transparency. Yeah. 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's a thing that is good for society. There is the side project, which is crypto for payments and trading. There is a whole infrastructure thing that will change society completely. So that's crypto. And that's why I'm passionate.
Okay. I've never heard anyone make that point, that crypto is going to bring things to Web2 that Web2 could 100%. Never innovate on their own.
Go do AI, verifiable AI without blockchain in a few years.
Yeah.
And this AI will beat humanity. Blockchain might be your friend here.
Yeah, decentralized AI as well.
Privacy.
Yeah.
You know who is creating what? Marketplaces. You don't want your data to be given to anybody just for money. Now there is ownership of your data.
How do people reach out to Sui? What's the best way to connect with you?
In the region, they can go to Sui Hub. So they can search Sui Hub. They can find me directly. I'm Kostas Krypto, Kostas with a K, Crypto with a C, on Twitter. They can go to the Sui blog or to the Sui documentation if they want to learn how to write Sui. They can find me directly through you. Call Brian, spam Brian.
Spam me. Thanks.
He comes to me later on.
You've got your event coming up May 1st and 2nd in Dubai. They can come to that and see all your crazy devices and meet the Sui community and see all the plans for the future.
100%. Yes, exactly. Now in Dubai, we have the base camp. Yes, you can see me like live. I'm not an avatar yet, although I'm a cyborg.
Okay. And you have people all around the world as well. You saw
200 people. Yeah, everywhere.
Europe,
Korea,
Asia.
Japan.
Okay.
I'm giving you some big centers, right? Los Angeles, New York, Texas, Denmark, UK, London mostly, Greece, Dubai. We're getting another Singapore. Where else are we? Now India gradually. Everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
And how does Brazil as well? How does Kostas take a break from any of this stuff? How do you survive as a human being when you're basically 24/7?
It feeds me.
So
it feeds me. It's my hobby.
Right.
Who would name his son Kryptos? It feeds me. And even my wife now, even Kryptos feels proud.
Okay.
Right? Because do you know what crypto means in ancient Greek?
No.
hidden, secret. So when we say cryptography, the word graphy means, as calligraphy, means I'm writing.
Right. And
So cryptography means
message.
writing in secrecy, writing with a hidden message, with some key. So that's why we call it cryptocurrency. So it's a currency where there is cryptography behind it, where there is some secret keys where you can do transfers.
Right. And your son is proud to be called crypto.
At the moment, yes. Well, if the market collapses completely and then crypto is a bad thing, we can just say it's an ancient Greek word.
Okay. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Is that the story of you?
Yes, I don't feel I'm working. I'm passionate about this. Of course, we're taking breaks. We're humans, after all. I like spending time with my family. But there is a passion that drives me. I can see why it can change society. All of my life, I was focusing on transparency. I won my first hackathon by creating the first transparent randomness in the world. And this was my ticket to go to the UK among the others. This was my ticket for everybody in the Greek community to learn about me. And then I put it as a goal in my life. I want transparency. And I'm coming from a country where transparency was not the best thing. Right? There is corruption.
Yeah.
And I needed to solve it as a person. That's why you see so many Greek people actually in the blockchain space. Crisis and lack of transparency is a driving factor for them.
Right.
And a country of 10 million people have 3-4 in the major blockchains as lead cryptographers or founders. Cardano has a lead cryptographer is Greek. Right? On Ethereum Foundation, there were also a couple of Greeks involved. Sui has 2 Greeks. And personally, I see education, financial literacy, also being able to be transformed by the blockchain because we need to give incentives. There is no other system now that can give incentives. People should be richer by using the blockchain, be wiser by using the blockchain, and the governments and everybody providing transparency and ownership to people. I haven't seen such a platform, such a framework in my mind like in the past. There is AI who is advancing the knowledge of humanity, and transparency and ownership and opportunities to build something new is the blockchain. Give me any other industry that is doing better than these two. For humanity, there is physics, we're doing space exploration, but these two is going to change our everyday life. You agree or you disagree?
I do agree.
I'm a visionary, but
look, that's one of the reasons I'm in this space. In 2020, we were censored very heavily for putting out messages during COVID and lockdown, and the Web2 organizations blocked that messages from being heard. And I had millions of people around the world that wanted to hear what I had to say, and I wanted them to hear it. And yet a centralized, tech company stopped us from communicating with each other. Now we found other ways, but it just showed me how important freedom of speech is. And then I had an OG Bitcoiner on named Dan Held who said, Brian, freedom of speech is a luxury without freedom of finance. Because if you can't eat, if you can't get on their mobile, get on the internet, put a roof over your head, speech is a luxury. And so freedom of finance became just as important. And I ran to be mayor of London, actually on a pro-crypto, pro-freedom of speech. I wanted to put the voting on the blockchain and the budget on the blockchain as well. And so I've been on the tip of the spear of being censored, coming from a country in America.
Did they criticize you for all of this stuff?
Yes, and they took my content down, and the BBC came after me. Oh, the whole thing, yeah. And so we really felt it, and that's one of the reasons we're here, because I believe crypto are instruments of freedom, and I think ultimately freedom will win. And so, yeah, it's really important for me as well.
That's how I feel it.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Kostas, you're a very unique guy, and we're very happy to have you going hard every single day in this ecosystem. Congratulations to all your team and Sui. All the people I met are amazing. Christian, shout out to Sheikh Mualla and the GAF Capital guys for making this happen and putting the hub here, and it's incredible. And I'm just super bullish on what you guys are doing. Your passion is incredible, and I'm gonna go buy a big bag of Sui after this. Before it airs. Not financial advice.
I cannot tell anything about pricing. I'm the nerd of the company, but I really appreciate this. I feel the same. I see that you're very active in the community, and I'm very happy that there are people now who are advocating that we need this technology. Right? It's an important asset for humanity, in my opinion.
I think it's very important. And I'm also a big advocate of Dubai and the spirit of Dubai, and I feel like it's a bit of my duty to tell the stories of Dubai and communicate to the world all the amazing things people are doing here in blockchain and Dubai. And
we can also work more together now that you can see I'm bringing some engineering and research capacity here. We can do events, right? We have to inspire people. We have to inspire students in the universities, in GCC in general.
Yeah.
I've started with AUS, and I know we can change the narrative that Dubai is only to make deals. Dubai can also be a hub of innovation.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Of course.
Tens of thousands.
That's my
hundreds of
dream now.
thousands.
That's my dream now.
That's it.
Somehow GAF Labs created this dream to me that we can change, starting from UAE, the world. I hope I can do it.
Look, if it can be done anywhere, it can be done in the Emirates. That's
True.
for sure.
True.
So we're glad to have you here for sure.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll have this conversation again in the future. Check in and see how Stu's doing.
Yeah.
And thanks so much. Let's go higher. Yeah.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right, I want to thank the folks at Web3 TV. We will see you next time.
Web3.tv